Hello, Commissioners. I'm here before you to do the possible action to approve a name for the future park at 11th and Natoma. For those who don't know me, my name is Barbara Shammy. I'm a manager of policy and public affairs for the Recreation and Parks Department. I'm here today with Erica Waltemead, who's the Director of Communications and Placemaking for Soma West Community Benefit District.
Welcome.
Erica led the naming process on behalf of the community. During this presentation, I'll briefly give an overview of the project. Erica will then talk about the naming process, and I'll conclude with a recommendation for a future park name. The 11th and Natoma Park site is located in Western Soma, a culturally rich neighborhood that includes Soma Filipino Cultural Heritage District and the Leather and LGBTQ District. It's a light industrial area that includes residential and commercial uses, and it anticipates higher density in the coming years, meaning that the future park site will not only serve the existing residents, but also future residents and professionals. The Rec and Park Commission approved the acquisition of this site in 2016 to address a need for new public open space in District 6. The park site was selected for its relative large size, its specific location within the district, as well as its ample sunlight exposure and southern light. The Rec and Park Commission approved the conceptual design in December 2023, and construction is expected in summer 2025. Images on the screen are from the schematic design phase, which was approved by Civic Design Review in May 2024. The final concept design was labeled the terraces. This includes 3 distinct areas to serve as active, passive, and play forms of recreation. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see the active terrace. This will provide a buffer to 11th Street and includes a multi-use court, adult fitness area, drinking fountain, dog relief station, and seating. Next to that, in the center and sunniest part of the park is the garden terrace. This includes meandering paths around large planter beds and seating with tables under shade trees. The bottom image is looking from the park entrance towards the play terrace, which is the most protected part of the site. The play terrace has a play area, nature exploration area, and picnic tables with seating. I'd also like to note that this will be the first park in the Rec and Park catalog to have signage welcoming all ages. The ARC, San Francisco's largest adult disability serving population, is located a few blocks away, and so this site will be an asset for them. During the conceptual design and planning phase, Rec and Park heard from the community that there was a desire to name the park something besides 11th and Natoma Street Park. So I did outreach to recruit naming committee members. I first reached out to groups that were active in the planning phase. I also presented the opportunity at the Rec and Park planning meeting that was co-hosted by the Arts Commission. Several groups from across Soma stepped forward to volunteer, and at the first meeting of the convening of the naming members, I asked if one person could lead the committee. I was really thankful, as was the group, that Erica stepped forward. Other committee members were planning on promoting specific park names, and so Erica and the CBD were the neutral choice in this matter. I will now pass the floor to Erica, who can talk about the naming process more specifically.
Thank you, Barbara, and thank you so much for your guidance throughout this process. I don't know about you guys, but I've never named a park before. This was a very new experience for all of us. And as Barbara mentioned, Soma is home to such a diverse group of communities. Leather, LGBTQ, and Soma Filipinas are just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much happening in Soma. Mm-hmm. And if you're familiar with Soma, it's also got such deep community organizing ties and activism, a history of activism. So to put it bluntly, there was no way it was going to be named after a bird. Our amazing naming committee got together about, oh, sorry, I have slides. Oh, are you doing the slides?
Just using the arrow.
Okay, thank you. Our naming committee included representation from Access SFUSD, as Barbara mentioned. That was Heidi Saratin, Cynthia Cruz-Ur, and Radka Pulliam. From the Leather and LGBTQ Cultural District, we had Cal Callahan, myself, David Wu from Soma Filipinas, and Angelica from Somcan. Luckily, we all were pretty familiar with one another and started from a place of trust, and it went really it went really well for this group of disparate cultural identities. So from there, we put together a request for naming proposals. We tried to make it as simple as possible for people to submit, creating a low barrier of entry. So, 1 to 2 slides, just the basic name and the person's significance, and be prepared to present at a community meeting for 1 minute. The selection criteria was that if it was a non-person name it should reflect neighborhood history, park location, or design characteristics. And if it was a person or persons, it should honor an individual who has made significant contributions to the SOMA community and who have not been previously honored in public naming and have been deceased at least 2 years prior out of respect for the families. Proposals had to adhere to this criteria, and that is was our guiding light throughout the process. Our first community meeting, we presented the nominations that people came forward with, and this happened in February. And immediately following, we put out the survey, including all the names that were presented and a space for people to add names that they didn't feel was represented on the survey. And so the response to the first survey was we had, some clear front runners: Rachel Sullivan, Tim Figueres, Heclina, and Soma West Park, which was like the neutral park. I did not put that name forward. And Dojo Park, to name after the dojo. Those were the top names that we decided to move forward to the second meeting and second and final survey. So we had a live discussion with community members and went over the first survey results. And then we released this community-wide survey number 2 to discuss the top names, which our group, our naming committee, agreed to select the top choice from that vote, from that survey. So here were the final results of the survey, the second survey. Rachel Sullivan was the clear front runner from both surveys, and it became pretty obvious that she was the right choice for this community. I know that a lot of her family is here today, and they will, of course, talk about her legacy and what she means to the SOMA communities. But she was a healer. She's of Filipino ancestry, and she also was one of the board members of Folsom Street Fair and a founding member of the Leather and LGBTQ Cultural District. So she's really at the intersection of many of SOMA's communities. And finally, we did a lot of outreach between all of our groups. Here's some of the social media posts. We did mailers and posted flyers around the area. And that is an overview of the process.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. So per the agenda discussion, there are 3 names that the commission can consider. However, staff recommends the same as the naming committee, meeting all the criteria of the Recreation and Parks Resolution. Staff recommends the future park at 11th and Natoma Streets be Rachel Sullivan Park. Echoing what Erica said, Rachel Sullivan was overwhelmingly the top choice in both the first and second survey. The department also received over 6 letters of support in this name, including the ones on the screens from individuals as well as from Supervisor Dorsey's office. Online articles highlight both the admiration Rachel had for her community and also recognize the impact she had on her community. Rachel was disabled, worked at the intersection of leather and Filipino communities in the Soma district and beyond, so it's fitting that her communities have nominated her for the namesake of this park. This concludes my presentation. Erica and I are available for comments, and Park PM Alex Shuknik should be online if anyone has questions for him.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to read excerpts from Supervisor Matt Dorsey's letter that he sent to all of us, members of the commission, expressing his enthusiastic support for naming this future park located at 11th and Natoma Streets in the South of Market neighborhood after Rachele Sullivan, a cherished member of both the leather community and the Filipino community. She was an extraordinary individual whose life was marked by her dedication to healing and advocacy. She fought a battle against metastatic cancer in September 2021 moving forward, and she passed on in January 17. I guess that's the year later. Her legacy is one of compassion, resilience, and unwavering support for the communities she loved. Her impact on the leather community was profound. She was known for her warmth, her ability to bring people together, and her tireless efforts to create safe and inclusive spaces for everyone. Her leadership and advocacy extended beyond the leather community, deeply touching the Filipino community in South of Market. She was a champion of cultural preservation and empowerment, working to ensure that the rich heritage and vibrant traditions of the Filipino community were honored and celebrated. Supervisor Dorsey says that naming the park after her would not only honor her memory, but also serve as a lasting tribute to her many contributions to the South of Market neighborhood. This dedication would provide a space for reflection and community gathering, embodying the values of inclusivity and unity that Rachele so passionately championed. Her story is a testament to the strength and resilience of our diverse communities, and by naming the park in her honor, we celebrate her life and ensure that her legacy of love, healing, and advocacy continues to inspire generations. And he goes on to thank us for considering this request.
Thank you, President Anderson. Before I call up David, is there anyone from Rachel's family who was here to speak during public comment that I could allow to come up first? Come on up.
Welcome.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Sebastian Sullivan. I'm her son. So, my mother, what can I say about my mother? I love her. She was, first and foremost, a healer. She was a registered nurse, and she even won an award for being a nurse. She helped a lot of people in this community, not only in the indigenous Filipino community, but as well as the leather community as well. Not only did she help found the Leather Cultural District, she also established Venus's Playground, the first women's space in the Folsom area. My mom was on the board of directors for Folsom Street Fair, and she was also a volunteer, and she worked at a Native American reservation in Soxhawtto County, Washington, where she served as a nurse, and later she became in charge of that area, helping indigenous people all around. My mother was an activist, and she wanted to help a lot of people in the community, and that's what she did.
You still have some time. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. She helped a lot of people, and she touched the hearts of many people, which is why you could see that there are many people here today that could support her. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is there anyone else from Rachel's family that wanted to speak?
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Abby. I have a little speech. I don't jump in the deep end anymore. I'm careful with my steps and tread lightly, but I have the sense that my Tita Rachele would have wanted me to take a leap of faith, even if it was into the abyss. She lived every moment, and though I only knew her in her family mode, she was the most loving godmother I could have ever asked for. In moments of doubt, she derived meaning and affirmed how much we mattered. In times of adversity, she wore tough skin and showed me how to be more than what others thought of me. Her dedication to community and family is how I knew her, but more than that, she was known for her endless volunteer hours and support for the LGBTQ+ community. She spent a considerable amount of time working with the Folsom Street Fair and the Leather LGBTQ Cultural District. She cared deeply for the natural world and was truly respected. A spectacular nurse who showed compassion and held steadfast to her beliefs, she worked extremely hard on her career and earned the award of top registered nurse by the worldwide leaders in healthcare in 2020. Though her countless service hours, dedication to community, and strong character and overall leadership in the world proves that she earned the name for the park. To give name is to give meaning. Sorry. To name is to give meaning and purpose, but I believe my Tita Rachele would give value to the park's name. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else before I call David? Come on up.
Welcome.
Good morning. My name is David Hyman. I am on the board of the Leather and LGBTQ Cultural District. I had the honor and pleasure of working with Ms. Sullivan during the creation of the Cultural District, and I was constantly aware of how she was able to keep each community aware of the needs of others. She really does embody the intersection of the queer, the leather, the Filipino, the indigenous, and the disability and the disabled communities. And therefore, I think it is a real honor and a wonderful idea to be able to name this park after her. And I also want to thank the commission and say how excited we all are about the addition of this park to our neighborhood. It is much needed and will be a real asset to all the people there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Is there anyone else in room 416 who'd like to speak? Come on up. I just have one caller on the webinar, so I'm going to wait till the end for that one.
I'm so sorry. Hello, commissioners. I'm sorry, I'm just
Take your time.
Take your time.
very sensitive. I'm just going to say it. My aunt holds many titles, as individuals do in this room. My aunt is a mother, a sister, a daughter, a friend, an activist, a healer, and many more. She is an outstanding, independent woman who has touched the lives of others and who she has met throughout her communities that she has been when she was alive. If her name is selected for this park, I hope that those who read her story continue to also have the courage to tell others about her and whom
She didn't say.
She has touched when she was still alive. I hope that those who learn her story, if her name is selected, will have the encouragement to also name a loved one that they have, who they've cherished in their hearts, and that whenever they also come to this park, that they will be informed that she was someone who really wanted to touch the lives of everyone that she's met. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. What's your name?
My name is Athena Sanchez.
Thank you, Athena.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners,
Good morning.
and Field and General Manager. My name is Tina Pasco Sanchez. Rachel is my sister. What I bring here is growing up how park means to us. We were born and raised in San Francisco, and so a lot of our fun events were going to the park. South of Market, the library had a small little park on 7th Avenue in Clement. We also grew up going to Mountain Lake Park, learning how to swim at Rossi Park, also in Chinatown. When we went to high school, we took the bus and got off and walked through Golden Gate Park. So my sister actually was known as a tree hugger, and I always tell that story, even when she was alive. We would go to Golden Gate Park, have a barbecue, have a picnic. All of a sudden, where would Rachel be? Hugging a tree. So what I do want to also mention that everyone, after her passing, there was overwhelming support, and I knew a lot more of my sister, that what she was involved in and how much the community loved her. I loved her as a sister. Today, I just want to share with you who's here. My mom, Raquel Pasco, my sister, Erleen Rosendo, my daughter, Athena Sanchez, who spoke earlier, my niece, Abby Rosendo, and Sebastian Sullivan, my nephew. So thank you.
Thank you. And it's so nice to see everyone.
Would anyone else like to speak on this item?
I'd
Come
like
on
to
up.
say I'm sorry I mispronounced her name. It is Rachel Sullivan, right?
Good morning.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. Good morning. Sorry. I wanted to submit a letter for the record, but I couldn't find the words. And my daughter suggested, why don't you just write a letter to Rachel, what you say? And I thought, well, that's a good idea. So sitting here, I decided to write her a letter, which I'll share with you. Dear Rachel, I miss you. I miss playing at Mountain Lake Park with you. But I have to ask, how did somebody I used to share a room with get on a list to be nominated for their very own park? I mean, I used to pick up your socks. But thinking back to our childhood, I remembered annoying little sister that I am. I made fun of her. I teased her endlessly. I was cruel. About her weight, her glasses, the way she ran, the way she talked. But if I were hurt, or if I'd fallen down, I'd run to her. And most of the time, she would comfort me. She'd hug me, tell me it was okay. She took care of me. That's how she was. And I know I wasn't the only one who was cruel to her. She was bullied. What did she do with those experiences? She turned it into something positive. It gave her strength. Every little thing gave her strength. She formed communities. She joined communities and she formed communities. She helped build communities. She wanted everybody to feel safe. She wanted everybody to be taken care of. She was a nurturer. She was an educator. She wanted to show respect. She wanted everyone to learn respect. She took care of everybody. She wanted to give everybody a sanctuary. In essence, she wanted to lead everybody to the playground. So, Rachel, how can I honor you? How can I say how proud of you I am? How can I say I'm sorry? I don't know, but I can urge the committee to please vote in favor of naming the park after my sister, Rachel Pasco Sullivan, a wonderful person, a loving mother and sister and daughter, and just somebody I really miss. And hopefully you're proud of me for speaking today.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. I believe we have one hand raised on our WebEx. If you could unmute the caller.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Cal Callahan. I'm the District Manager for the Leather and LGBTQ Cultural District. I was a member of the naming committee for the park. I regret that I'm not able to join in person today. We recognize and value the rich diversity of Western Soma, which is why we propose that the new park be named after Rachel. Rachel embodied so many of the identities that make up the fabric of our neighborhood. She was a leather woman, Filipino, provider of service to the indigenous community and disabled. Rachel was a natural healer, not just of physical ailments, but of divisions in communities. She knew how to move those communities forward, both publicly and behind the scenes. It is because of the intersectionality of what she did that among the 9 letters of support that we've submitted, 4 are from the city's cultural districts. We hope that you'll take the recommendation of the naming committee and name the new park the Rachel Sullivan Park. And we do hope that Rec and Parks will also be able to find a way to honor Joanna and Tim at the park, because learning about them during this process, they should be included. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other hands raised on our WebEx for item 7? Okay, seeing none, public comment is closed. Commissioners?
Commissioner Louie.
Thank you to the SOMA and the renaming committee, Erica, Barbara, and David, and all due respects in memory of Tita Rachele. You know, renaming parks is not, I don't know about you other commissioners, fellow commissioners, is not one of our favorite things to do, but then again, we respect the process that has been taken. And through your presence here today and your words about Tita the healer, thank you for introducing us, because she sounds like a very beautiful person, and healing of a park in San Francisco is something that we favor. My question is, I see that 2 surveys were done where you used a Google form to collect the votes, and so there were 698 in the first survey, 1,100 in the second. Our question is about other voting processes that we have been through, like Stowe Lake. How many of the responses you received, was this for this period from February to the March? Was that per day, or how did you collect the number of votes to come up with your tallies?
Hold on, come up to
You have to come to the mic.
Yeah, I don't have the date ranges off the top of my head, but the total numbers were for the amount of time that the voting was open, the survey was open. I should also mention what I forgot to mention before. We worked with the ARC and Access SFUSD to do paper surveys because there was concern about the accessibility of Google Forms. So we worked closely with that community who were on our naming committee as well to make sure that paper forms were submitted.
Okay, so I'm just questioning the period in which the votes were collected.
Okay.
Was like your vote, one person can vote once a day, or was it inhibited to like one time per survey?
One person, one vote?
Exactly, yeah. One person, one vote per survey.
Oh, one person. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So it was kind of like the first survey, was the more collective, here's all the names, just casting a wide net. And then we move forward with the top 6 from that survey to the final survey.
Okay. So thanks for that. And we're just happy the top vote was not after a bird.
Commissioner Wintrob.
I just want to, again, alluding to past naming processes we've been through, I really want to commend Barbara and Erica for designing such a thoughtful process, for finding or creating, multiple opportunities to solicit ideas for names and then to resurvey from, such a broad-based community in the neighborhood. We also appreciate that you presented options that were in line with the guidelines that we've been given for naming, which include naming after a person, and a person who's been deceased more than 2 years, and especially someone who's as beloved and is engaged in this community as Rachel was. And I just also want to say to the family, when I was reading the briefing packet and reading all the letters of support, I couldn't help but Google her name and read all of the articles that were written about her life and her contributions after she passed. I was so moved and inspired, and I'm very sorry for your loss, and really do support, I don't know if it's time to make a motion yet, but I do support naming this park in her memory and honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hallisey.
This is for either Barbara or Erica. On your timeline, it said that community meeting number 3 would be held only if the results were contentious in any way. I'm just curious, was that community meeting number 3 held? It was not. Very good. And also, I'm very thankful that Commissioner Louie brought that up, because I was about to, as far as one person, one vote, and not an individual being able to stuff the ballot box, so to speak. More important to me than that voting survey are the bios with which Commissioner Wintraub mentioned, and also the statements of the family, Sebastian, Abby, David, Athena, Tina. I did not catch the name of the younger sister, but I will tell you, I'm one of 7 children. We regularly abused one another, another verbally for many years, and still do to a certain extent. But I love my brothers and sisters, and they love me. So I enjoyed your comments as well. And I believe in this project, and in Rachel's name. I'll also say we know, just from these comments and from the things I read online, what she meant to the Soma neighborhood. But also, it appeared she touched so many other neighborhoods in the city. Growing up in the outer Richmond, going to grade school in the inner Richmond, high school at Turk and Masonic. She attended USF. Her funeral was held in the inner Sunset. I mean, she was a woman of the city. And, but as I said, what means more to me than anything else in this process were these heartfelt comments by friends and family. So thank you very much for being here today, all of you.
Before General Manager Ginsburg goes, I have a question. The name is 2 names, Rachel Sullivan. Was that part of the discussion, whether it was going to be 2 of her names or 3 of her names?
I don't think so.
Because I heard one, I think it was little sister who said her name is Rachel Pascal Sullivan. So that's interesting to me in terms of what her name is going to be.
Should the commission vote to name 11th and Natoma after Ms. Sullivan, we can work with the family to see what the preference is.
That's exactly the input I was looking for. Thank you. Because I want us to get this right and satisfactory to the family if this is the name that we land on.
Can I just give his kind of cultural context? So for Filipino cultures, your mother's maiden name is your middle name. So your full government name is your first name, your mother's maiden name, and then your father's last name. So just want to give the context. That's the reason why family members might have mentioned the longer name, but what's being presented to you now is kind of the name that's been given.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted a little clarity on that. But what General Manager Ginsburg just said makes me feel comfortable. And I wanted to address little sister about having compassion for yourself. We had a conversation like this at the memorial service of one of my dearly departed, and I want to say to you that your sister did not have a grievance against you. She loved you. Your sister was an amazing, compassionate, and loving person. That kind of stuff did not stick to her. She knew that you were being little sister. You should carry forward the love. And if you need to forgive yourself, know that you are forgiven already. And we love the story that you shared. It really brought home. I'm so sad that I didn't know Rachel. So thank you for opening your heart and know that she loves you so much. General Manager Ginsburg.
Thank you, Madam President. It's mostly all been said. I wanted to extend both my sympathies to the family for your loss, and also say thank you for the blessing of learning a little bit about you did a little bit of things that a sentence in I think it was the Bay Area Reporter who covered her passing, which really resonated with me and should resonate with everyone in City Hall, is the following quote: "A lot of people who are public figures want the adulation. In contrast, Rachel seemed motivated to get things done that would benefit the communities to which she was so committed. Working with her was such a joy." So that resonated with me, and I think just as we grapple, this is doesn't appear to be an issue, but as we grapple with, as the Commission grapples with our naming policies, it probably is time, as Vice President Halsey and I have discussed, to kind of take a look at the policy and give it a little bit of a refresh. And I think that there are some differences between a naming and a renaming.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a naming, right?
This
This
is a
is a
naming.
park that doesn't exist. This is an initial naming. This is not, we're not changing the name of an existing space. I don't know exactly how you should weigh that. We need to give it some thought, but I think you have a little bit more, you stick with, the policy that we have is rooted in, but your predecessors created it and my predecessors rooted in some good concepts. But, policies are designed to guide us.
Oh, they should be flexible. That's why they're policies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's coming to a point where I say to my policy and public affairs team and my capital team that it's probably time to take a look at these things and make sure that the language, that the coding, still is, relevant, because this has been the policy for a while. But I think you all clearly ended up in the right place. And Erica, thank you, and to the whole naming, Barbara, and thank you to the naming committee for clearly doing a very thoughtful and collaborative job on this one.
All right, I have no other, Okay, I have no other comments from commissioners. Can we get to a vote? Okay, so the way it's worded is possible action to name the property located at 11th and Natoma Streets, either Rachel Sullivan Park, Tim Figueres Park, or Joanna Fruguli Park. And I'm wondering if I could get maybe a streamlined motion from one of the commissioners.
I would like to make a motion that we name the new park at 11th and Natoma Streets Rachel Sullivan Park.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. That was 4 ayes. The ayes have it. Thank you to the family for sharing your love, your hearts, and your family with us. And I look forward to being at the ceremony where we will be putting up the sign. Ashley, be sure that we all get invited to that. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, now we're going to move back to general public comment. I believe my very patient